Welcome to Izzo's place. Well, it's Thirsty Thursdays. Let's do a long review. So you might have seen the short already. I've got this Benchmark Foolproof. Did the neck pour. Neck pour was good. As you can see, been enjoying this. It's not just me though. You know, best way to enjoy whiskeys with friends, so I have shared this a bit. Gave someone a little sample to take home. But of course, all that allows the air to get in and work its magic. So on the review, I know it said kind of like drank like a high proof, and it is high proof. We'll go over it a little bit more in a minute. It's kind of a dirty glass. Oof. Good thing it's alcohol. Whatever the dishwasher didn't clean off of here, I know is at least sanitized. But we're still gonna try to get rid of some of this. Oof. This was not in the bottle. This was definitely in the glass. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, anywho. Alright, so let's talk about Benchmark Foolproof. So it is, it's distilled and bottled by Buffalo Trace, so Frankfort, Kentucky. Buffalo Trace, of course, is a favorite of mine and many people. Let's go ahead and read this bottle to you. 1773, three McAfee brothers named James, George, and Robert left Virginia westward to explore the uncharted territory that would later be known as Kentucky. Traveling by canoe at first, the McAfee Company eventually followed a native trail overland that led to the Great Buffalo Crossing, where the brothers surveyed the land, now home to the world's most award-winning distillery, Buffalo Trace Distillery. So there you go, a little backstory on their name. They were actually following the trail or the trace of the buffalo. The surveyor marks left behind are known as benchmarks, and this Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey honors the pioneering spirit of these early American explorers. Distilled, aged, and bottled at Buffalo Trace Distillery. There we go. The words continue to cross instead of going directly across. Anyway, McAfee Brothers Benchmark. That's neat, knowing a little bit about why it's named that. It says extra strong. Benchmark bourbon, always on mark. The bourbon standard. Foolproof. This Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey is bottled at the same proof that it enters the barrel. Bold and robust, this 125 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey unveils hints of, shouldn't read the hints. It's too late, I saw them. Chocolate, brown sugar, and spice. Sip and savor. 62.5 alcohol by volume, 125 proof. It's a 750 milliliter bottle, all that's normal. It says of the highest quality, foolproof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Oh, interesting. Kentucky sour mash. So it's got a sour mash note on here. I haven't delved too much into sour mash products. I do own a couple, and I'm going to have to like sit down sometime with them. So this I think is the third. I think I got the Ancient Age, which is also Buffalo Trace. I've got the Michter's sour mash, just the regular sour mash, nothing special about it. So I'll have to sit down with these three and see what goes on. Okay, anywho. So just for fun, I'm gonna look at what my notes were. Well, I'm gonna listen to them while I get this going. So let's see what we get on the nose. It's very, very strong. Like when I coated the inside of the glass, it really like punches you in the nose a bit. But it's got some of the classic stuff that I'd expect from Buffalo Trace. And I think I said that in the short too. Cherry, vanilla, oak. I agree. I kind of agree with that first neck pour. Excuse me. My goodness. But it also mentioned, what else did it mention? Mentioned chocolate, brown sugar, and spice. I'd agree with the spice. The spice might be just the fact that it's such high proof. Might be giving it a spicy smell. All right, let's try it. got quite a hug, quite a Kentucky hug at the end. It is spicy on the palate, and not just the alcohol spice, but like a baking spice. Not quite a clove, more like a baking spice. It's got a little bit of vanilla sweetness on the palate when you first sip it, but then the spice takes over quite a bit. Alright, let's head back into the nose. Okay, now that my palate and nose are getting adjusted to this is my first pour of the day. I'm getting my clove note that I'd love to get. And the cherries has kind of disappeared. It's like vanilla and cloves for me. It definitely comes in sweet. And for me, it's not like they're saying chocolate or brown sugar. Hints of chocolate, brown sugar, and spice. For me, it's not brown sugar. For me, it's definitely like a vanilla taste on the front. But then almost immediately it goes into spices. And not like a taco spice. Like definitely more like a baking spice. Almost some anise, not quite. I'm definitely getting cloves and some baking spices. I'm just using it as a generic term. At times I get a hint of anise. So, before the hug, right on the back of the palate, I get like a dark chocolate. So I see what they're saying there. So it comes in sweet vanilla for me, turns spicy, and stays spicy going down my throat, get the Kentucky hug, but right before I swallow, I get just a hint of dark chocolate. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. So, and the neat thing about this too, I don't know how easy it is to find in your area. It should be $20-22 tops. It's like their lower shelf Buffalo Trace products. So the regular benchmark I found just a little bit boring. I wouldn't be opposed to buying it, using it as a mixer or with a mixer. This foolproof so far has been great, and there's several others. I think they've got a single barrel. I've never tried that. There's at least 5 different benchmarks, like the regular one, and then this foolproof. What else would they have? So there'd be a single barrel. That would be 3 of them. What else might they have? I could look it up. Why not? We're only at 8 minutes. Let's make this thing stretch out a little bit more. Make sure no one's trying to get in touch with me. Nope. That's just Black Friday advertising. Alright, let's look up benchmark bourbon. Okay. So you can go to liquorbros.com, which they're one that they have a pretty decently small shipping cost. Oh, okay, here we go. So we got single barrel, and the single barrel comes in at 95 proof, so a little higher alcohol content than the regular, but nowhere near this full proof. So we got the single barrel, so that'd be interesting to try sometime. Okay, we got bonded. So when something's bonded, and I don't know, I'll have to research, I don't know if there's a difference between, I'm gonna have to do a history of whiskey segment, aren't I? I'm gonna have to do that. Anyway, so this is bonded, so I don't know if that's the same as bonded and bond, or if they're just saying bonded and then making it 100 proof and letting you know that they're doing that. Then we got the full proof, of course it's 125 proof. Okay, we got a small batch at 90 proof, and then top floor, what's top floor? Top floor is 86 proof. And I thought, okay, and I thought what I got, so I think the other one I reviewed, I think think it's like benchmark number 8. So what I reviewed isn't even on this little list, on this little bundle of 5. Okay, let's see. I wonder what mash bill it is. We're gonna find out. Yeah, I'll have to look up the old number 8. Find out what that proof point is. Alright, so yeah, the old number 8 is the one I did. I'm not seeing proof point on this picture of this bottle. Let's go to a different picture. Where's the proof point, guys? That's not very nice. It is the sour mash. Okay, interesting. I'll have to find out what sour mash is and get back to you. Okay, here's another picture. You got the proof point for me? These pictures are not very good. It looks like 80 proof. So the old number 8 is just like their standard 80 proof. That's about as low as I've ever seen a bourbon. I don't think I've ever seen a bourbon or whiskey go under 80 proof. So what would I do? So I've gotten used to it. It's not super harsh pour, but I will probably add a little water to this and just water it down just a hair, because you know sometimes you drink things and they taste like, you could taste how high the alcohol is, and sometimes you drink things and they're dangerously, you know, easy to drink even at a high alcohol proof. But this, I like the flavors coming in, but I probably would water this down, or maybe even just throw an ice cube in it. Maybe I'll do that. I'll throw an ice cube in. BRB. Living in a construction zone, but we still have amenities. The refrigerator is still making ice here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put that in and we'll talk a little bit. Let's look up sour mash. Let's see what the heck a sour mash is. What is a sour mash? And I really do need to do like a history of bourbon. I should do that for each aspect. Like maybe, you know, whimsy. How do you do history of whimsy? I could figure out some way, but yeah, I would like to get into history of like woodworking, but there's so many aspects there. I'm gonna have to like figure out. Maybe just stick with cabinets at first and see where we go. And a history of whiskey, I think, would be important too. All right, sour mash is a process used in the distilling industry that uses material from an older batch of mash to start the fermentation of a new batch. Okay, interesting. So it's like the sourdough bread that everyone except me was doing during the pandemic. Interesting. What's the advantage of sour mash? Helps ensure flavor continuity batch to batch, so every bottle you purchase tastes the same. Interesting. It creates a healthier, more efficient fermentation. Do all bourbons use sour mash? They each use it a little differently. Average is about 25%. So it sounds like quite a few places use the sour mash, which makes sense. Interesting. Okay, that's cool. Learn something every day. I love it. So it's not really, so I was picturing sour mash, there being something in it to make it sour, but it's like a sourdough where you're using some of the old to start the new. Okay, I didn't really taste that. I just kind of wanted to get it in there, get myself used to this with the ice cube. So I'll be honest with you, now on the nose I'm mostly smelling ice. What does ice smell like? You know what ice smells like. Yeah, it's kind of over. Okay, there we go. Try to get those scents in there again. It's keeping the vanilla for me. The cherry has come back a little bit with the ice cube, for whatever reason. I'm not getting any spice on the nose now. Let's palate it. Kind of killed everything but the spice. So maybe instead of a full ice cube, maybe next time I just drop in a couple of drops of water. And I actually am going to still do a little bit of work, so I'm not drinking anything else after this. So we'll experiment with a couple of drops of water next time. But dropping an ice cube in, despite the fact that I lost some of the flavors and tastes that I was getting, it's still quite good, and it's way easier to drink. So, you know, if you're someone that doesn't enjoy a heavier proof like that, 125, this is so cheap. You could buy it, and then, you know, if you got another bottle, you could, like, I wouldn't go half and half. I'd say, like, drain off a quarter of the bottle and replace it with water. Probably finding like a distilled water, or getting I guess a natural spring water would be neat. You can actually order Kentucky limestone water on Amazon. So you could even get some Kentucky lime water, which they're always bragging about. So you could even put that in your benchmark and just cut down the proof a little bit for yourself. You could also look for those other benchmarks that are at a lower proof, because I believe all these benchmarks, if anything, the full proof would probably be the most pricey, but they're all going to be within a couple bucks of each other. You should not be paying more than $25 for a bottle of benchmark. Like that bundle on the liquorbros.com. So it's 5 bottles, but it's not the cheap one. It's like the 5 special bottles of this line. So those bottles are 120. So that's less than 25 bucks. Yeah, so you got a little bit of shipping there. And with the Liquor Bros, if you watch, they'll have shipping deals every now and then. Get shipping for $10, shipping for free over a certain price point. So even going to the Liquor Bros, that would be a good way to get these if you wanted to try all 5. I've got enough stuff that I'm chasing right now. I'm probably not going to pull the trigger on that bundle. But if I run out of content, I'll pull the trigger, and then I've got 5 more Thirsty Thursdays to do. The only problem with the alcohol content and trying to control it and not release stuff every day is that there's more than enough content. It's the easiest of the content for me to do. Although I enjoy, if I'd actually do my music again, that's probably the most enjoyable, but I really enjoy the construction videos. Alright, that's all I got. So, benchmark. So for some reason you like scrolled forward and trying to skip ahead to the end. So benchmark full proof, $22. I think it's very worth it. If the proof point is a little high for you, you could just cut that down with an ice cube or a little bit of water. I'm gonna try just a little bit of water next time and see how that goes. And but yeah, I think that one's definitely worth the money. I don't think the benchmark number 8 is, unless you just need something from Buffalo Trace to mix with your mixers. But the benchmark foolproof, very good, and I will eventually try the other 5 varieties, and we've learned what sour mash means, so that's excellent. So whatever you're doing, if you're working, if you're woodworking, please do it safely. If you're drinking whiskey, please do it responsibly, and no matter what you do it with a little bit of whimsy, and then everything's going to be just that much more fun. Alright, thanks for hanging out at Izzo's place. I'll catch you next time.